Hey everybody, it's Janet and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you the October card kit from Creative Escape Papercrafting, and we're going to make 10 cards using this one kit. Alright, so let's take a look at the cards I made for the 10 cards in this October card kit. They turned out fantastic, and this was so much fun to do and really not very hard because all of the pieces just go so nicely together. The coordinating paper and the sticker sheets and everything just works so nicely together. Lots of great cut-aparts like this one, and this one started as a cut-apart and I've embellished that. And here we go. A lot of these feature the die that came in this set. It's the spooky trees with the two bats, and then of course we've got the Halloween jack-o'-lantern set from Lawn Fawn that's included in this kit as well. That is just a lot of fun to play with and use. So you can see some of that gorgeous purple paper here that came in the kit as well. That purple metallic is so much fun. Here's a great card using a number of the stickers. And then I made some 6x6 cards as well. Let's look at those. Again, utilizing the scene paper stock that came in the kit. There's another one prominently featuring this haunted house. And then finally this cute little shaker card. Had a blast making this. Alright, so let's take a look at how I put these together. We're going to start card one with a fairly simple one. We've got a white card base and a black mat. This is all for an A2 size card. And this is a cut apart that was in the larger 12x12 sheet. And I just knew when I saw this that I was going to have to make it because it's so sassy, and it spoke to me. And it says, sometimes you just need to put on the pointy hat and remind them who they are dealing with. And I just get a big kick out of that little sentiment. So this is an awesome card almost entirely on its own, but I decided to add a few little things. This little crescent moon was in the sticker pack, or the sticker sheet that comes with the kit, so I just applied some powder to the back of it to not make it sticky, and then stuck it on some foam tape to make it pop up a little. And then I cut out and colored this pumpkin and the pumpkin interior along with a knife, and all these images come in the Lawn Fawn stamp set in the kit. If you want to see the entire stamp set, just go to my unboxing video. I'll have it up here in the right hand corner. You can see it up there. You can click there and see all the individual pieces, but this kit is loaded with a lot of fun stuff. Not least of which is this Lawn Fawn stamp set that has so many fun Halloween and fall images. It's basically a build a pumpkin set, so you could choose any number. I think there are maybe at least 5 or 6 different faces you can put on your pumpkins, and there's a couple different pumpkin shapes as well as one that has the top taken off. Now to finish this off, I added some Nouveau enamel drops, or crystal drops as they're called, in the color ebony black, and I purchased this from Creative Escape Papercrafting as well. And then finally I decided to put a little gloss down using the glossy accents on my moon. And then I was having so much fun with glossy accents, I decided to use a little bit on my pumpkin image as well, so I put glossy cheeks on her, and it just gives her a little more sass and fun as well. You'll see up close in a second that that is a cute little touch for her. And that finishes card one. Very simple and easy and pretty quick. So on to card number 2. We're going to take a look at creating a night scene here. The first thing I'm doing is setting up 2 hills with a die that I got from Creative Escape Papercrafting. It's a Lawn Fawn stitched hillside border die. It has several different patterns for creating hills, and this could be used for either grass or snow. In this case I'm doing grass with a dark green, and I really like these little hills because of the fact that there's stitching on them, and that just adds a little bit of cuteness. And the next step here is to add a moon, and to do that I'm going to use a brush and fossilized amber in distressed oxide ink. And just right in the center there I'm going to swirl a bunch of this great yellow color. And again, what I'm trying to do here is create moonshine, more or less. And then what I did was use some of the black glitter paper that's included in the kit and cut out one of these tree dies. This is included in the kit as well. It has this tree image with the two trees together and two bats. So first thing I'm going to do is put in the tree. Now when I cut it, I put some adhesive backing on it, so I just peeled that away and stuck it on the card. Very simple. Now I'm going to apply this cute little squirrel that came in the Lawn Fawn stamp set in the kit, and I colored it and cut it out. Off camera I also had colored and cut out the stamped image of this more flat pumpkin as compared to the taller pumpkin in the first card, and then I chose the traditional face to put on him. This has foam tape on it, and I'm going to put that right next to the tree trunk right there. And you'll notice here too, by this time I have cut off the excess green hills that were hanging out on the left earlier. And this allows me to get a really good, nice and even trim all the way around. The sentiment here is white embossing powder on black. And then I'm finally going to put some stitching all around this card using my black glaze pen, and this kind of also sort of finishes off my image a little bit. And then I decided to apply some Wink of Stella on top of the yellow ink to give that more of a glow feeling. And then I'm able now at this point to put glue on my entire image here and attach it to the card base. And this panel is the same size as an A2 card base, so it's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Now I could have left it there, but I decided to utilize a leaf stamp that is also in the Lawn Fawn set, and I decided to stamp that all over the hills as if there had been a bunch of leaves that fell off from that tree. And I used 3 different colors. I used a red, an orangey color, and also a brownish green. And these I just again put all over my lawn there, and I think that looked pretty good. And then finally I used the smallest of the bats on my moon, and I think that whole card turned out pretty cute. Alright, we're on to card 3 already. What I did first was I cut out 2 squares using the stitched wonky set there from Cottage Cuts. And then I'm looking at my sticker sheet here. I'm going to pull out a sentiment that I thought would be very fitting for the card I had in mind. And here is where I use my embossing buddy to basically apply powder to the back of that sticker so it's no longer sticky. And then I put a piece of foam tape behind it and stuck it on my smallest reddish orange square. And then another layer of foam tape on that to put it on my black square, which is another size bigger. Now here's the paper panel that I cut to use on my card, and I love this paper. It's got all these ghosts and ghouls peeking out through the dark circles, and I just loved it. So I knew again I had to use that particular paper pattern for sure. And I'm using some of that black glitter ribbon that came in the kit for a border, and then I'm using this little cut apart. It's part of a sheet, a 6x6 sheet with all these different borders and patterns, and it kind of goes with this sort of cartoonish theme. So I applied all of that as a border, and then I trimmed the excess off, as you see there. And now I can put my little sentiment on here which says, "Just creeping it real." Again, I just love that little sentiment. It's so fun. Now in the sticker sheet there are some flowers, and so I decided to work with this one. It's got the orange and the purple flower. I'm just going to tuck it under that orange sentiment square there, just to add a little bit more interest again. And it's sort of a play on, you know, you've got this elegance thing going on and then these creepy ghouly things. So I thought the juxtapositioning of those things were kind of fun together. So I took a piece of white fun foam and I'm backing that panel now, just using some ATC glue. And then that can go straight onto my black card base. And I really liked how this card turned out as well. It's just really fun and cartoonish and not scary, but yet definitely a lot of fun to look at. To finish this off, I just used a little wink of Stella on the purple flower. Again, just to add a little bit of glimmer. It's not very obvious, so it's just very subtle, and I like that effect. So there you go. That is card number 3. Card number 4 is a panel of this witch's hat that I cut in 1/3 and 2/3 sections and then flipped it over. So the back side of this is this black and white, almost chevron pattern. And then to keep these two pieces together, I'm using this cute sticker of a candy jar. There is a second candy jar that I'm going to also add to this scene. And again, love these candy jars. They are really fun. As I was thinking about this card, I was trying to figure out how to use the sentiment "trick or treat, smell my feet," because I love that sentiment as well. And I saw there was a boot, so of course that had to go with this. And then I started to think, well, now if I were a witch and I was going to create some kind of little treat, something to entice my little victims to come and see me, I would probably want some candy. And I'd probably want some spell books right there so I could cast a spell. And of course, there goes my boot because, right, trick or treat, smell my feet, you gotta have the boot. And then the last thing to kind of bring in my little victims might be a cute little furry animal. And of course, I'm saying this all in fun. We all know that witches don't exist and there are no such thing as this. But in my imagination, I just thought now, again, if I were a witch, what would I create on my console table that would kind of attract people to come in? And so I came up with this little collage, and I hope you enjoy it because I enjoyed putting it together, and I think it came together pretty nice. Now to kind of add a little bit more aging and some fun to this, I decided to edge the card panel all around with some tea dye distressed ink, and I think that did add a little touch to the panel. At this point now, I'm going to put the fun foam on the back of this panel, again to give it some lift. I usually like to do that if I'm going to put up the lift, and the fun foam isn't very thick, so it gives a little bit of lift, but it's not so high that it becomes difficult to mail the card. And most of my family is out of state, so if I do send cards, it's usually going to be in the mail to those folks, so I can't have things be extremely, high, or it just doesn't mail well. So anyway, here is the card put together. I thought that I would add this little bow to the pumpkin and the kitty cat just as that last little finishing touch, and I think that did the trick. So trick or treat, smell my feet. That finishes up card number 4. Hope you liked it. All right, we are on to card 5, and I decided here to do quite a bit of stamping and coloring. So I'm going to create this kind of little squirrel who has a pumpkin carver thing in his hand. This is like the spatula to take out the interior of a pumpkin. And so I mask the spatula first because whatever is going to be in the front of your image has to go on first. And then you cover it up so that when you stamp over it, you won't interfere with that image. So next goes the chipmunk, and I've placed it so that it's going to look like his little hand is holding the spatula. There we go. And then you see when I remove my mask, it looks as if he's holding it. Now I applied a mask on top of the squirrel and the spatula because I'm going to do a little more stamping, and I don't want my main image to be marred with the extra things I'm going to stamp. So here I have the pumpkin that has been opened at the top, and there's the top that I'm going to rest on the side. It doesn't quite touch that pumpkin edge, but it's close. And then I have the face, and I've got this face that looks like, what's happened to me? So I thought that was cute. And I'm going to put a mask on top of that as well. Now this is just Post-it notes that I've stamped and cut out. And then I'm going to stamp now the pumpkin interior. And so by stamping it like this with the masks on, it's going to look like it's behind the squirrel and the pumpkin. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. So if I didn't have the mask, the image would look kind of icky. But because I have the masks in place protecting my main images, you see how it looks like all that pumpkin stuff is behind. Alright, so I'm going to speed things up while I color all the images here. Now you'll notice in my white background I've added all the squigglies, and these were in the stamp set. They're actually meant, I think, to be representative of the vines on the pumpkins. But in this case I used it as a background. Now all the pumpkins in these 10 cards that you see use just two colors, OR1 and OR2 from Spectrum Noir. And I decided to make my little squirrel here a gray squirrel. I used three colors here, IG3, which is a darker gray, IG1, which is the very light gray, and then I used true black just to do some edging. I also used the true black to kind of hide my little mistake. You probably noticed that the tail overlapped the border and it looked a little odd. So by using the black, I was able to cover up that little mistake. I decided I need a little more color in this background, so I again added some fossilized amber oxide ink using a brush. And I like the brush technique because it makes it nice and soft and it blends really easily. So lately I've been really liking that technique. Now once that was colored, I could put it on my black A2 size card, and I used the card that came in the kit. I should also mention that the whole background there with the orange and black bat and then the white center with the border, that was a cut apart that came with the 12 by 12 cut apart sheet. So that was already laid out for me. All I had to do was do the stamping on it and add my additional pieces here. Now the sentiment I decided to use was, I've carved out time to say Happy Halloween. And then I used the glow in the dark twine at the top, and I can tell you that that twine really does glow, and it glows really great. I couldn't get a good picture of it, but if you get this kit, try it out. It glows really nicely. And so there you are. That is card number 5. Okay, we're on to card 6, and I am using a little cut apart from a 6x6 sheet. It says A Haunting We Will Go. I trimmed it down and then I corner edged the top. Kind of is reminiscent a little bit of a cemetery stone. It's all the wrong colors, of course, but I'm still using it kind of in that sort of theme. Now I wanted to tuck it into the dirt a little bit here, so I just used my craft knife and kind of measured it out using my sentiment there to know exactly how long to cut that slit. And once that is cut, then I can slip my little tombstone into that. And then to give it a little bit more dimension, I'm going to add a piece of foam tape just behind the sentiment. It will also hold it in place, and I'm going to put it about where it says haunting, and that way it just kind of stands up a little bit and gives it kind of a 3D look. Now this obviously is one of the 6x6 paper sheets in the kit, and it has this whole scene already ready to use. I'm just going to add a few bits and pieces here to enhance it. And since the piece is 6x6 and I really don't want to go any larger than a 6x6 card, I just trimmed it down to be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, so I could put it on this golden or yellow card base that I made with some paper in my kit. I really liked how it matches the yellow in the cardstock image here just perfectly. So I'm using 2 of the bats that came, they cut rather, using the spooky die set that came with the kit. And we've got the smaller one in the background just right on the paper, and then the bigger one I put on foam tape since it's closer and bigger. And then I pulled out some of these ghost sequins that came with the sequin pack. There are ghosts and there are pumpkins, but I thought the little ghosts peeking out here and there on this card was a nice touch. And that's all there was to this card, quick and easy. All right, card number 7 is going to be a shaker card, and I've picked a few windows to cut out, which will be a shaker portion of the card. So there'll actually be 3 little shaker windows. And I'm taking advantage of these really cute portraits. And what I'll do is cut these 3 portraits out, and then I'm going to place them in the background so that I can create windows but still see, you know, these pictures in the back. I used some distressed ink to ink the edges of my papers, both the green cardstock and the printed designer paper, again just to age it, look a little bit more spooky and old. And once that was done, then I could put my paper back in place and kind of use that as the guide as to where I'm going to put my portraits back in place. So I'm just going to apply them flat onto the cardstock through those holes that I had cut, and then they'll be perfectly placed once I get all 3 of them in there for when I put the cards, you know, the card panel back over the top. So like I said, this assures that the pictures are in the right place and that the holes in the pictures line up. So here goes my 3rd one. I really like all these images. I said in my unboxing that this reminded me of the elevator in the haunted house at Disneyland or Disney World. Either one, they're the same. And they really, you know, they make me smile because they're so much fun. Now I'm going to place the acetate windows on all 3 of these, and I just use my ATC glue here and place it around the windows, and then place on top of that the acetate. And so now I've got all 3 windows. Now I'm creating the shaker wells. And so I just use my foam tape. Now I've said this before, but I use the foam tape from the Dollar Tree. It's $1 for a huge roll. It's acid free, and they stick like there's no tomorrow. I mean, they're very, very sticky. So they're a great product for the money. And I just cut those squares in half and created my wells. And then finally I placed a whole bunch of these all over the card panel. And now I can place my designer paper on the top of that. And it's going to have some lift, and also it's creating those sealed wells. Once I've got the paper on top, I'm going to really press hard around each window well just to make sure that none of the sequins can go through and that the foam tape is securely attached to the paper. And there you go. You've got these 3 little windows with shaker bits in them. It's very fun. Now I really like this little ghost guy down here, and he kind of sticks out because you've got a lot of witches and things, but this random ghost. And so I decided to take advantage of that, and so I used the sentiment from the stamp set that says, "Have a very beautiful Halloween." And these are embossed with a, you know, kind of a celery green colored embossing powder that I had in my stash. You saw the orange on previous cards. That's another color that I have in the stash. I love Halloween crafts, so I do have blue, green, and purple Halloween colored embossing powders. Now I added that green ribbon at the top, and that concludes this card. I think it turned out really cute. Lots of fun. Kids will love this one. All right, we're on to card 8. And I'm going to take advantage of this pretty purple metallic paper. There is a sentiment in one of the cut-aparts. It's the smaller 6x6 sheet that says Happy Halloween. So I cut that out and mounted it on foam tape. And now I'm going to start preparing a little scene, again using a 6x6 piece of paper that comes in the kit that already has this neat little scene built in. But to enhance it, I'm going to add one of these spooky tree die cuts so that the trees kind of overlap that very cool moon and the witch that's traveling across it. And then I'm going to use that Happy Halloween sentiment at the bottom so that I can make my trees taller and reach up to that moon. Otherwise they were too short, and I thought this worked pretty well. Now again, I'm using 2 of the bats from the die cut set. These are the two large ones. I put one directly on the paper with glue and the other I've put on foam tape. And then I've mounted this again on some of that yellow paper. There's a little bit of yellow in the thunder, or the lightning actually, and then the lights in the house, so it kind of plays on that to bring those colors out. And then I created a double bow using some black and white twine that came in the kit. And you notice that I used some glue, that's Pioneer glue stick. If you apply that to the edges of your twine, it will stop it from unraveling. So that's a great little trick. And there you go. That finishes off my card. I really thought that turned out cute as well. All right, we're on to card 9. Now again, I'm going to use a cut apart that came in that 12 by 12 cut apart sheet. And I liked the black and white images here with the spiders and the Happy Halloween. So I decided to use this as kind of a hanger so that I could create sort of a banner look here. And so I'm using my white gel pen to draw down and create like additional spider webbing that you can hang things from. So I used the Happy Haunting sentiment in the sticker sheet, and then I'm going to add a few more of these white lines and put another star, so we've got 2 stars hanging down as well. And then I'm going to add a few more embellishments. I loved these butterflies, and they're really pretty. Not scary, but they have the lovely fall and Halloween colors in them. So I decided to have them flying around in my scene. And then I also wanted to add a bow here. What's a card without a bow? And they always give you so much great ribbon and things in these kits. You've got to take advantage of that, and that's easy for me to do because I love ribbon. And so now I can apply this finished panel onto some fun foam, just again to give it some lift, and then I'll go ahead and apply that onto this lime green card base, which I created with cardstock that came in the kit. It's a wonderful green, and the green and the orange and the black and the white I think are really fun together. Now the last thing I decided to do was again use some glossy accents, and I applied it to the stars. And I thought it just added a bit more shine and a little bit more dimension as well, and I liked that look to finish it off. And there you go. Very simple, very quick. And that is card number 9. Well, we're on to card number 10. And this one is a lot of fun as well. I decided to use the purple metallic paper again, and I wanted it to have the edging, but I didn't want to waste all that pretty cardstock being covered up by other things. So I just cut it to fit the A2 size card, and then I used a die to cut the middle part out. And so I'll be able to reuse that on another card or another element, and I don't have to waste it. And part of what I cut I'm going to put back in place anyway. You'll see that in a moment. So here I have some of that fun foam again, and I'm going to apply it to the back of this paper that I chose. And this is a fun paper. It's got all these witches flying across a moon, and it's a lot of fun. I really had to figure out a way to use this paper. So I'm going to apply that here. There is a witch. There's actually 2 witches that are in the sticker sheet, and I'm going to use one of them here. And so I thought she was a nice echo of this paper, even though she is much prettier than these witches are. You'll see that in a second. So this is some of the extra middle part that I cut out. It's got the stitching on both the outside and the interior of the frame, and this is a Cottage Cuts die again. I have a good selection of Cottage Cuts dies because I was on their design team for a while, and this one is still available. It's a great die. It's a nested shape die that makes these frames. So I'm going to put that in place, and now I am ready to add my witch. So here she comes. She again was a sticker, remember, so I used my powder from the Embossing Buddy and made it non-sticky, and then I applied my foam tape behind that so she could stand up and kind of pop out of that frame in the center. And then here's the sentiment also from the sticker set, and it says, "It's witching hour," which I thought was rather perfect for this particular scene. And I'm going to place that so it also overlaps over the frame there. And then the last thing I'm going to add are 2 little pumpkins with some cute expressions. And the shorter pumpkin that I'm going to put in the front has, again, kind of what I would consider to be a more female face. And she's cute. It's like she has little eyelashes there. And so this is card number 10, and I thought this one turned out really cute too. Well, that's all for me today. I hope you enjoyed my little journey into Halloween. Don't forget, you can still get your Halloween card kit for October from Creative Escape Papercrafting. Just follow the link at the end of my video description and you can get one of these for yourself. All right, I'll be back soon, but until then, keep crafting. Bye!